Hello, I just want to talk about Spray Dancer. Some people think that if you have to talk about a track, then something's gone wrong. It ought to be listenable to, and without much conversation. I don't necessarily agree with that, as you would have probably gathered by now. I think conversation is important. I did have a friend called Julianne who I'm hoping is still alive. I don't know that for certain. um, she was not necessarily working class. She did even claim to have what she called an old castle. Well, sometimes she called it an old castle, and sometimes she called it a pile because she was worried about the repairs and so on, and very emotionally attached to it and distressed about what had become of that situation. But in many respects, it's an environmental love song, but not quite. Fountains are obviously man-made, and watercourses are somewhat man-made also, many of them. Some of the natural springs are to do with nature, but a lot more of what we've enjoyed for many years has somewhat been engineered, to some extent. Thinking of environmental love songs, I don't know whether you've ever walked at the back of a waterfall in England. There are waterfalls here that you can walk at the back of, and observe from a little ledge, from the back of the waterfall, and hear the splendor of the sound, and feel the spray somewhat, though you don't actually feel the spray as much from the back of a waterfall as you might think. But yes, some of you may be wondering why it's not Spanish music. I am referring in many ways, although my friend Julianne particularly was not working class, I'm referring to some of the achievements of the 20th century and the early part of the 21st century, the welcoming of the working class into a comfort situation, actually. And we've all been educated, most of us, to some of us to a very high standard. And looking back on the film My Fair Lady, we can understand, you know, we've all been able to take advantage of some of the achievements to do with materialism and so on. I've got some earrings, that I've got some earrings. I've got clothes. I'm very thankful for my situation. And have been, it's not ingratitude that motivates me, to do with the situation that's been allowed to me somewhat. I mean, I don't like taking and being given drugs that are physically destructive and mentally destructive. They have been as well to some extent, but I'm not bitter in every respect. And yes, I did used to live as a tenant. To a landlord who is very much like Professor Henry Higgins. He did not supervise my own tutorship, but all his mannerisms were very 18th century almost, although he was a 20th century gentleman. Um, yes, elegance actually attached to him, and style. He was much older than me. I wasn't courting him. My friend Daphne did have a relationship with him. But just to let you know that it's to do with water, obviously. to do with the blessings of water, to do with the fear that water may run dry, given the climate change situation, and to do with thankfulness also for knowing my Julianne. And I do hope she may still be alive somewhere.